Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm your host, Amanda Lamb. In 2006, way before she was a superstar, a 16-year-old Taylor Swift shared her music with students at Athens Drive High School in Raleigh after they won a contest from a local radio station. Now, little did they know at the time that the up-and-coming country music singer was going to be one of the most famous entertainers of their generation. Ironically, no local media covered Swift's concert 17 years ago, which was attended by less than 200 people. But those who were there, well, they now look back on that day with stars in their eyes. In this episode, WRAL multiplatform producer Ryan Bisesi joins me with fond memories of that day from people who now have a great story to tell. Ryan, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So this strikes me as one of those stories where people go, where were you when Taylor Swift played at your high school back in 2006? Almost like an urban legend. People are probably like, no, that didn't happen. Because now, obviously, she's one of the most successful entertainers of all time. I think in your reporting, you said her summer tour exceeded $1 billion in ticket sales. Yet there were only a handful of people at this concert 17 years ago. So tell me about that.
Right. So it was an after-school show. So, kids may have sports practice or band or, may have other events, other extracurricular things going on. So that kind of put it behind the eight ball as of itself. Obviously, the culture was kind of atomized even then. And Taylor Swift, I think her record had either just come out or it was about to come out. And even if you didn't listen to country music, like you wouldn't know of her, so you can't really blame the kids for not
knowing who she was.
Yeah. But the people who were there, I think, were passionate music fans. Nobody who attended that show was there for status or because it was a fashionable thing to do. Maybe they went because they were friends with some of the other people that are there.
And it was free.
And it was free, but it was kind of this cute little intimate thing where a teenage girl was basically performing for other teenage girls, and she was still kind of hungry and aspirational and to get going. And it was kind of a return of this concert being this communal experience.
Yeah, and I know, tell me about, it came about because of a radio contest with WQDR, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And how did that work? I mean, they had to call in or something?
Yeah, basically WQDR would kind of organize these concerts with up-and-coming artists from time to time, and it was a contest between a couple of the local high schools, and Athens was one of them. I believe Apex was another one, and some of the young ladies that voted for Athens Drive were just doing it for the factor of school spirit, and they wanted to beat Apex. It was
a competition, right?
It was competitive, but also the cheerleading team came up with a cheer to kind of encourage people to vote for it. So this was a tale of somebody where music still mattered so much that a concert mattered so much that people came up with a cheer to kind of encourage people to vote and win this concert at their school.
Yeah, I'm sure if there was a cheer for Taylor Swift today, it would be exponential, right? Well, we will be right back after the break. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. So my understanding from your story is that the students were told about the concert the day of, and most people had never even heard of her. And like we said in the beginning, so a lot of people didn't even come. The media didn't cover it. I mean, this was probably one of the smallest Taylor Swift concerts ever, right?
Yeah, and the whole thing was born, as far as a story idea for me, is I was having a discussion with Jessica Patrick, my colleague. She went to Athens Drive, and we were talking about the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift situationship, whatever that is. And she had mentioned just in passing that Taylor Swift came to her high school.
And you're like, what?
Wait, how did that happen? So, and there's only one photo in the yearbook of her there.
Wow. And I bet a lot of regrets on that end.
And I don't even know if the school newspaper covered it. And if you Google Taylor Swift Athens Drive, nothing came up. So I figure here's this kind of local legend thing, urban legend. And, very few things that involve Taylor Swift now exist only by word of mouth.
Right. So you wanted to examine that. And,
right.
I know that you talked to the program director for WQDR, Mike Biddle, and he organized the event. I mean, how does he now reflect on this event after seeing, obviously what a superstar she is now?
Well, I asked him if he still tells the story to people. It seems like this would be one you have in your arsenal as far as stories for a long time. And he says he often tells it to people and their jaws usually drop. But at that point, as we've talked about, she was just a new artist and a new face. And I think they did do something on air with her that day, and he could see kind of some nuggets there of like the person she was and how jovial she was and how eager she was. And,
he saw saw that spark.
Yeah, he saw the sparkle
maybe
in her.
Maybe something's going to happen with this young woman, obviously. So I know some of the best stories in your report were from the students who were there. I know you talked to 3 people. They had different roles. The cheerleading team, one helped with the equipment. What did they have to say about what this day was like and now reflecting on that day? Well,
they were the same age, the students and Taylor at that point. So it didn't seem like, they were intimidated by this person or this person was better than them and somehow they related to them on like a different level. And she kind of had this youthful hunger and ambition. And one interesting story was one of the girls that attended the show said at one point her guitar string broke and the guitar had to be swapped out for another one, and Taylor was super embarrassed by it. And during the delay, she started freestyle rapping. And I wasn't there obviously, but I don't think she could be that good at that point. But entertain the people. You're there to entertain, and I think she had a good
kind of a natural born
that.
entertainer that she would figure out how to fill the silence, right?
Yeah, and. Yeah, I think at one point, I understand is that she ended the show with a cover of "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. So
wow.
she was willing to kind of go off script and
and not follow the country path,
right? Yeah,
which we know today that she's done everything. I mean, she's a pop star.
She's done country, she's done folk, and she's a full-fledged pop star now. Yeah.
So I bet some people are now kicking themselves that they didn't go to this concert. I mean, especially people who maybe didn't even know about it and then saw your report and they're like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I was at Athens back then. Why didn't I go?
Yeah, I think she also played at Edgecombe Community College in 2008. There's stories on the internet of her playing high schools back then. But who could have known that she would be the mega star that she is today?
Those pictures are probably pretty precious to the people who have them.
Yeah, and this was 2006, so not that long ago, but it was the year before the iPhone came out, smartphones weren't out yet, and the social media platforms weren't as prevalent as they are now. So that's kind of adds to the legend that, so few people got to experience this.
Yeah, it kind of happened in a vacuum, if you will.
Yeah.
Today it would, would be all over. Even somebody who was unknown at 16, there would probably be tons of videos and pictures just because the kids would have their smartphones. Well, this is fascinating. Thank you so much, Ryan, for sharing this with us. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. If you'd like to hear more about things to do, places to visit, and restaurants to enjoy in North Carolina, check out WRAL Out and About, a weekly podcast from WRAL News. Find WRAL Out and About in your podcast app. As always, thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download.